Bonjour, a warm welcome to all of those attending this event and to our principal Dr. Madhav Rajwade sir, Vice Principals Dr. Dattatreya Nerkar sir and Pramodini Sawant ma'am, Assistant Vice Principal Vinod Gaware sir, Supervisors Manjusha Patankar ma'am and Narendra Kishan sir, Cultural Head Jayashri Gaikwad ma'am, Cultural Coordinators Gautam Tenkade sir, Sameer Jadhav sir, Shamal Gaware ma'am, Shrikant Nete sir and all the respect. It is my privilege and pleasure to greet you on the behalf of the French Association today. We are delighted to have you with us. Let us take you to a virtual tour of France and its rich culture, lifestyle and more. So come along on an hour-long journey and expand your knowledge on the most popular and visited country in the world, boys. Now let's have a look at what our other two friends, Sajiri and Vaishnavi.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
What did you say?
Well, I said bonjour. It can mean either good morning or good day. It is also the perfect way to greet someone in French, as it can be used in formal as well as informal settings.
Oh, well, bonjour. And what was the other thing that you said?
That was comment ça va. It means how is it going?
Oh, that's interesting. How do you reply to that in French?
Well, you could say ça va très bien. Merci. It means I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, merci.
Hello everyone, I hope you all will enjoy the exhibition. Now, we would like to give you some information about how the exhibition is going to proceed. We have dedicated a different section to various topics, including the diverse and unique French culture, some information about the French language with some fun facts in between, the sophisticated fashion and refined works of art, and of course, the ever-famous French food.
We're going to be having an informal interview with a Parisian. We'll learn a bit about famous French monuments and have a quick quiz for some brain twisting. Without further ado, let's get started. Bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Sajiri. Avec plaisir, je lance cet abonnement. Le français est une vaste langue, mais aujourd'hui, je vais vous présenter et puis expliquer quelques faits amusants à ce sujet. J'espère que vous l'apprécierez beaucoup. Allons-y.
Some facts about the French language. About 45% of modern English words originate from the French language. For example, brunette, which means brown-headed, silhouette, which describes an image, and also RSVP, which is Répondez s'il vous plaît. There are some terms the French generally use. Après moi le déluge. Après moi le déluge means after me the flood, and is used to refer to a person's irresponsible or selfish lack of concern about what will happen after they've gone or moved on. E is the common letter of the French language. Example, je, elle, fromage, au revoir, petit, merci. It's everywhere. French language has many words with just one letter. For example, I, a, je, ce, etc. Some other common terms are mauvais quart d'heure. As well as having your 15 minutes of fame, you can also have your mauvais quart d'heure or your bad quarter of an hour. A brief but embarrassing, upsetting or demoralizing experience. Revenons à nos moutons. You would be forgiven for not quite understanding why someone might say, let's return to our sheep mid-conversation. But revenons à nos moutons has been used figuratively in English for more than 400 years to mean, let's return to the matter at hand. Before the French Revolution, French as a language was not that famous in France. Until the 19th century, French was more used in the countries Germany and Holland. A saying goes, Je ne crois pas mes yeux. I can't believe my eyes. This is a perfect informal French phrase to let loose when you're pleasantly surprised or dumbfounded by something you're witnessing. The translation is more or less literal on this expression. The counting method in the French language is very unique. For example, the number 83 is written in English as 83, but in French, it is written as 83, which symbolizes 4 20s and 3. Also, When we reach up to 99, it gets more interesting. We write it simply as 99 in English, but in French, we write it as 99, which symbolizes 4 20s, 10, and 9. Some beautifully framed sayings are La nuit porte conseil, the night brings advice. This is equivalent of the term sleeping on it, or in other words, take your time before making a decision. Vouloir, c'est pouvoir. To want to is to be able to. Where there is a will, there is a way. You can use this saying to encourage someone who doubts themselves. To conclude my point, French is the 6th most spoken language in the world. There are more than 25 countries whose national language is French. Some francophone, that is, French-speaking countries are France, Canada, Belgium, Switzerland, etc. French is also one of the 2 languages that are taught in every country. A wise scientist has said that in 2050, French will be the most spoken language in the world.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Shruti. J'espère que vous vous amusez bien notre exposition français avec nous. Quand vous venez de apprendre la langue française, apprenez quelques faits à ce sujet. Ironically, the name France is technically not French. It was named after a Germanic tribe and its original name was Frank. The word salut has 2 meanings, that is, it is used as a greeting as well as goodbye by the French people. French is also the only language with English which is taught in every country of the world, and 20% of whom are francophone countries. French has more than million words and 20,000 new words are created every year which are authorized by Académie Française.
Bonjour, moi Venetia. I hope you all are enjoying our event. I am here to introduce you to the unique French culture and its lifestyle. I am sure you must have heard the phrase La vie est belle. It means life is beautiful. Let's learn about the beautiful daily life of the French. France is a huge melting pot of diverse culture. However, French culture retains its own unique appeal when it comes to ethnicity, geography, and French language. Most people associate French culture with Paris, which is the center of fashion, cuisine, art, and architecture. But let me tell you, life outside the City of Lights is very different and varies by region. Historically, French culture was influenced by Celtic and Gallo-Roman cultures as well as the Franks, a Germanic tribe. France was initially defined as the western area of Germany known as Rhineland, but it later came to be referred to as a territory known as Gaul during the Iron Age and Roman era. The French people are all about preserving their culture and being individualized. Now, whenever the word culture comes, only one word comes to our mind, and that is festival. Let's learn about the festivals of France. There are many festivals celebrated in France. First festival, the festival of the Avignon. French festivals will surely be incomplete without this celebration. France is flooded by art connoisseurs from all over the world. It is also one of the oldest festivals celebrated in France, dabbling with different mediums like music, theatre, dance, cinema, etc. It is held from 1st to 31st of July. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Kushi et c'est vraiment bien de vous être sur la plateforme en ligne aujourd'hui. Le sujet que je vais vous parler dans l'exposition est basé sur la culture et l'art de vivre français.
Let's learn about the beautiful daily life of the French. The French are all about preserving their culture and being individualized. They often take pride in the French products and the French style and believe in keeping the French culture pure. So they also limit the amount of foreign goods that are being imported. Life in France doesn't revolve around the work, money, or having the nicest things. French lifestyle is all about savoring the small moments, being in the moment, choosing quality over quantity, and squeezing every last bit of pleasure possible. It's about elevating simple everyday routines into something pleasurable. Being well read and cultured is an extremely important part of French lifestyle. Embrace this custom of French living and cultivate your own intellectual wealth. The French lifestyle is all about the art of living life to the fullest. Living life with pleasure and enjoyment is always a priority, whether that's through social gatherings, excellent food, or beautiful surroundings. In French culture, it's very vulgar to show off its wealth or to even talk about the money or how expensive the things you own are.
Speaking of the dinner parties, the French entertain often. They keep a well-stocked home with essentials that can be used to entertain guests at any time. Although the French have an exquisite eye for details and quality, their dinner parties are typically simple and fuss-free. They believe it's important for the host to have fun and be able to spend their time with a guest rather than being stuck in the kitchen all night. Steal this French lifestyle habit and invite friends over often, whether it be for the cocktails, coffee, or a full-blown dinner. Keep the menu simple with the dishes that can be prepped ahead of time and include small details that will make your guest feel special and well cared of. Put out some good cheese and wine and you will impress the French.
Salut tout le monde! J'espère que vous appréciez de notre exposition jusqu'à présent. Comme nos amis vous ont déjà fait découvrir la culture incroyable de la France, je voudrais partager quelques faits amusants sur ces endroits intéressants. For starters, France has 12 time zones and they can change in a matter of hours. So it is important for you to keep your eye on the clock and constantly check to see what time zone it is in your area. Moving on to the Tour de France. Many of you must have heard about this incredible 23-day-long bike race held in July. But what makes it even more incredible is the fact that it was first held on July 1st, 1903, making the race over 100 years old. Coming back to the French culture, did you know that much like India, every one of France's 22 regions has their own unique traditional dress?
Further, I would like to continue with the traditional folk dances that are performed throughout the France. It is dependent on which part of country you are in. Some of the examples of the traditional dances include Forlorn, Musette, Manouet and Sarabande. The two famous and very popular dances are the bourrée and the belle dance. These two dances are performed often and are an attraction for the tourists in the France. The Baroque dance originated between 1600 to 1750. Colorful dresses are often worn while performing these traditional dances. I hope you are enjoying the event, and now I'm gonna perform a fusion dance of salsa, ballet, lavani, contemporary and wacken. So let's go for it.
Je ne sais pas faire, j'ai beau mentir, tout me ramène à toi. Je ne sais pas faire quand t'es pas là.
Je ne sais pas faire, j'ai beau sourire quand on parle de toi. Je ne sais pas faire quand t'es pas là.
J'ai le spin de toi, de tes yeux, sans un signe, plus rien de nous deux. Je reste digne même si ça fait mal quand t'es pas là.
Je sens ta main posée sur la mienne, et le son de ta voix qui traîne. Je ne sais plus le coup de quand t'es pas là.
is Shayu Samant, and I'm going to be telling you all about French fashion and je ne sais quoi. From Marie Antoinette to today's haute couture, France has long ruled fashion. Fashion in France is an important subject in the culture and country's social life, as well being an important part of its economy. France makes 150 billion euros as the direct turnover of the fashion industry, including 33 billion euros in exports. The share of the French GDP generated by fashion is 2.7%. Lastly, 1.2 billion euros is the amount of annual economic benefits coming from Fashion Week in Paris alone. It has been the world's silk capital since the 17th century, with an important textile industry and a strong fashion culture. It is the second biggest luxury goods consumer, with major streets and districts holding houses of high fashion. Fashion design and production became prominent in France since the 15th century. Paris is home to many prime designers, including Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, Balmain, Louboutin, Yves Saint Laurent, Roger Vivier, Thierry Mugler, Dior, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Hermès, La Vie and Chloé, Rocha, and Celine. The Paris Fashion Week is the most important event in fashion and takes place twice a year, once in February and September, right after the Milan Fashion Week. It is the last and usually the most anticipated part of Fashion Month. Unless you speak French, it is probably a little hard to fully understand exactly what je ne sais quoi really means. But thanks to the internet, the online dictionary, the phrase translates into a pleasant quality that is hard to describe. Pretty vague, right? But it's uttered all the time in the fashion industry. Said in your best French accent, it can almost be used to refer to anything, from insanely covetable style to the way a woman walks. Let's talk about one of the most iconic and evergreen je ne sais quoi looks, shall we? Behold, the little black dress. Popularized by Coco Chanel in the Vogue issue of 1926, it became the frock that all the world will wear, wrote the magazine. It became a French capsule wardrobe staple. 10 out of 10 women have it, but 10 out of 10 want another. It is because of the little black dress's complete chameleon about moods and times and places. It has the highest potential chic and the longest open season. The versatility of the little black dress's form and consistency of its color highlights another symbolic pillar in fashion, the silhouette. Simultaneously evolving and timeless, the little black dress is defined by its mutability, offering a metaphor for fashion itself. Our last streak on the chic street, let's talk about haute couture. What does it mean? The French word translates into dressmaking or sewing. It originates in the 19th century with the establishment of Chambre Syndicate de la Haute Couture, meaning the couture syndicate. That's sort of the technical meaning of couture, but the idea is something being handmade, exclusive, taking a lot of craftsmanship, can be applied to many fashion items, including humble masterpieces.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Urvi Kamat, and today I will guide you through the most wonderful and beautiful paintings and masterpieces of France that are quite well known throughout the world. Let's talk about some famous painters of France, shall we? France has the world's most beautiful classical paintings, and she has inspired the world's most famous painters, such as The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, which depicts the view from his east-facing asylum room at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence just before sunrise, with an edition of an imaginary village in June of 1889. Another beautiful painting by him is the Café Terrace, made in 1888. Let's talk about a Dutch painter, Pierre Mondrian, who painted the Broadway Boogie Woogie in 1943, which is in the Museum of Modern Art. His entrance in Cubism was when he first moved to France. Speaking of Cubism, Pablo Picasso, a Spanish painter who spent most of his adult life in France, is regarded as one of the most influential artists of the 20th century.
He is known for co-founding the Cubist movement, the invention of constructed sculpture, the co-invention of collage, and for the wide variety of styles that he helped develop and explore. The Weeping Woman in 1937 and The Old Guitarist in 1904 are some of his beautiful paintings. Let's continue by talking about Mona Lisa, painted by Leonardo da Vinci, an Italian artist. It took him 4 years to make this masterpiece, but according to some websites, it took him more than 4 years to paint, which is between 1503 and 1570. The French poet Paul Valéry once wrote, "Un ouvrage n'est jamais achevé, mais abandonné," which means a work of art is never finished, merely abandoned. It was made in the Louvre, Paris. The painting is probably of the Italian noblewoman Lisa Giocondo. It was acquired by King Francis I of France and is now the property of the French Republic. Thus, we can say that France has contributed a lot in the field of art and paintings. French culture is spread far and greatly influenced the development of art and science in the whole world. Thank you.
Now you all must be knowing about the French fashion as Urvi and Sharayu have introduced it to you. But there are also some other facts about which you all must be unaware of, so I would like to share it with you all. The denim jeans were originated in the region of Languedoc-Roussillon in the city of Nimes in France. The first fashion magazine was published in 1678 in France. It was called Le Mercure Galant and aimed at male consumer. A female fashion may followed 16 years later. The French designer Coco Chanel is credited with popularizing the little black dress.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Utkarsh. Aujourd'hui, dans cette vidéo, je vais vous parler quelques-uns des très beaux monuments de France.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about the city of love? The Eiffel Tower, right? The wonder of the world is situated on the Champ de Mars, has witnessed many gestures of love and proposal and a herd of tourists every day. Did you ever wonder how this wonder came to be? Let me take you through the history of some captivating French monuments. So let's begin with Eiffel Tower. In the year 1889, to celebrate the centenary of French Revolution, a competition was held for designs for suitable monuments. Gustave Eiffel's model made a special place in their heart. The Iron Lady can be seen sparkling every night for 5 minutes each hour at the precise start of the hour. The current lighting system has been in place since 1985, though the tower has been lit up in various fashions since its 1889 debut, when the gaslights were used. And to be very frank with you all guys, in the beginning most of the Parisians didn't like the Eiffel Tower, but later on they took liking it and talked about the Eiffel Tower as a great and factory's chimney. And to the world it became a symbol of love in the city of love.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Prajol Kamble. Aujourd'hui, je vais vous parler d'un monument historique de France. Je vais parler du monument Musée du Louvre. C'est un musée aujourd'hui, mais pendant le régime du Philippe Augustin, c'était un château.
Aside from love, the other thing that comes to my mind is art. French art is the most talked about in the European culture. The Vinci Code revolves around this particular art museum. Let me take you to the enchanting Louvre Museum. The Louvre, for hundreds of years, has been a part of French culture. As a medieval fortress in the beginning, the palace for the King of France, and a museum for the last 2 centuries, this place has been a milestone for the French. The Louvre has been a piece of history for over 800 years. Its architecture was very advanced for its time, and is still considered advanced for the 21st century. Built around 1190 with Philippe Augustus' decision to erect a fortified enclosure to protect Paris. This was an important gesture in a favor of urbanism and a display of the king's authority, just as he was preparing to leave the country to go to the war in the Crusades. Covering an area of 40 hectares right in the heart of Paris on the right bank of Seine, the Louvre offers almost 60,000 meters square of exhibition rooms dedicated to preserving atoms representing 11 millennia of civilization and culture. The Grand Louvre is also a cultural unit which has a didactic role toward public, a role which it fulfills through audiovisuals, lecture, interactive productions, and a very many printed publications which are available in the exhibition room or at the bookshop under the pyramid. The Grand Louvre project represents over 15 years of works from 1981 to 1999. Its ambition is at once museological, architectural, and urban, since it involves enlarging and modernizing the Louvre Museum and the Decorative Art Museum, setting off the palace to advantage and opening up the world toward the city.
Salut, je m'appelle Aditya. Je suis ici pour vous raconter la culture française. Je vais vous parler de le monument qu'elle s'appelle le château de Versailles. Il est situé près de Paris. Allons-y. Palace of Versailles, Château de Versailles. Versailles, have you heard that name before? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Remember the Great Treaty of World War One? The Treaty of Versailles. Let's talk about one of the monarch's residence. All the monarch has lived in the Palace of Versailles since the French Revolution. This UNESCO World Heritage Site remains a testament to 5 centuries of France's rich history. The site of the palace was first occupied by a small village and church surrounded by forest filled with abundant games. Versailles is one of the most photographed beauty spots in the world, yet masses of tourists make it virtually impossible to imagine the splendor of the palace as it existed during the ancient regime. From the time of Louis XIV, the Sun King, in the 17th century until the fall of Napoleon III in 1870. You can see the city best from the street leading up to the palace. Walking from the train station, you turn a corner and suddenly you get your first glimpse of Versailles in its all golden glory. It's a pretty magical moment. Let me tell you about the Peace of Paris Treaty that was signed in 1783 at the Versailles Palace. The proclamation of German Empire occurred in the Haunted Hall of Mirrors, and World War I was ended in the palace with the Treaty of Versailles, among many other events. In 1873, after the French Revolution, Versailles became a museum.
When speaking about France, the first thing that comes to our mind is the Eiffel Tower. Now you all know why the Eiffel Tower was built, thanks to our friends who spoke earlier. But did that make you wonder, what exactly was it that made France keep this originally temporary exhibit? Well, France decided to use the antenna that was built on top of the tower to conduct wireless signals. And thanks to that, today we have the honor of witnessing this amazing masterpiece with our own eyes. Moving on to the Louvre Museum, which is a home to more than 35,000 pieces of art. But it is also home to an institution, a school. You heard it right. Set in the air the floor is the École du Louvre, an institution of higher education which was founded in 1882.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
So, my name is Liz. I'm from France and I went to India for a year, for an exchange year.
And how was your experience?
It was really good. I had a really great time and yeah, that's it. I just had a really good time.
So, I have a couple of questions to ask you on France and its education policy. So, what type of degrees do French universities offer?
Absolutely everything. You can do whatever you want. We have a lot of universities and schools, and you can do whatever you want.
Does one need to be fluent in French to be admitted in one of the universities?
If you're not fluent in French, it's gonna be hard. I mean, you need to know French. There is courses in English, and then you can go for it. And but it's expensive. And I mean, French people, they don't really speak English, and it's gonna be really hard if you don't speak French. But you can try.
Oh yeah. How was your experience in school in France?
In France, for me, French school is really hard. Then we are like really strict about everything. Our school is from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. non-stop from Monday to Friday. and you can't miss any classes. You can't. Like, you have to be here every day, and so it's really stressful for us. But like that, we don't have any choice, and we're doing this since we were a child. So.
And you were in Sathe for a while during your exchange. So how was your experience in Sathe?
It's absolutely different. Like, everything was so different, and in India you're like 1,000 in one class. You're so many students. You're a lot, and in France we're like 30 students. So it's really different. But it was great. It was a good experience.
And how would you say that the French education system versus the Indian education system? Like, how was your experience? How different are they?
It's like in India, it's much less stressful. Like, that was the first thing that I saw that when I was there, and yeah, it's much more easier and like, yeah.
Okay, what are some of the tips that you would give to a foreign student? Like, if someone from India is going to do an exchange student in France, what advice would you give?
You need to be strong, and it's gonna be fine. But I mean, you can do it. Like, it's gonna be okay. Just you have to be ready for that. Like, in France, we're really strict, and you have to be ready for that. But it's gonna be fine. If you have to be like, you want it, you know. If you don't want it, it's gonna be hard. But
So, as we all know, France is very famous for its fashion and the art. So, what sort of job opportunities are there in those fields?
For sure, you need to go to a really famous school for this kind of, like, for arts. It's really important to do a big school and a very famous school. And then if you're from a famous school, you will have a lot of choice. Like, you can go for I don't know, like, for everything, like movies. You can go for fashion. You can go for, yeah, we're like, you know, in France we're famous for that. And also, like, for cooking, it's a kind of sort of art.
Yes.
So this, you can go for it. It's like we have a lot of jobs, you know.
And how was your experience in Mumbai? It's the last question. So, how was your experience in Mumbai? What did you love the most? What do you miss? Because, you know, we didn't get to say a proper goodbye. So, what do you miss about Mumbai?
I miss a lot of things. I mean, like, for real, like, the people, they were so kind, and like, Mumbai is a really big city, like Paris, but it's completely different. Like, in Paris, everybody is really, I don't know, they think about themselves, and just in the street, like, French people, they walk super fast and everything is going super fast. Mumbai is just like, it's a big city. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of people, but I was feeling so great and so, I don't know, I really miss that. Like, everything about Mumbai, I miss that a lot. The people and everything was really kind with me. So, yeah.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Dwani et je suis ici pour vous donner quelques détails sur la cuisine française.
Firstly, I would like to talk about the history of the French cuisine and how it is different from now. French cuisine is considered as the world's best cuisine due to its uniqueness. As for the history of the French cuisine, in the French medieval cuisine, food was generally eaten with the hands. Meat was sliced off into large pieces to be held between the thumb and two fingers. As we know that the visual display of French cuisine was prized, for which they use many ingredients to decor the dishes and try to make it attractive for eating that dish. For example, they use juices of spinach and green parts of leek. Yellow color came from saffron and egg yolk, and the red color came from sunflower. After the revolution in the 18th century, a chef named Marie Antoine Crème was called the king of chefs. He was the person who named the sauces as the mother sauces, such as espagnole, velouté, and bechamel. What is haute cuisine and what are the other types of cuisine in France region? Usually the cuisines in France differs from region to region, such as Lyonese cuisine of the Lyon region, Provençal cuisine of the Provence region in the south of France, and Normandy Brittany cuisine on the French northwestern coast, and so on. French cuisine also consists of a well-known as well as a certain type of cuisine known as haute cuisine. Haute cuisine was established during 17th century with a chef named Lavahine. He was the author of the book La Cuisine Francoise and thus is credited with publishing the first true French cookbook. French cuisine was more fully developed in the late 19th century by Georges-Auguste Escoffier and became what is now referred to as haute cuisine. What do famous chefs like Julia Child, Ming Tsai and Giada de Laurenti have in common? The answer to this is that they are all graduated from the most prestigious culinary school, Le Cordon Bleu, which is a cooking school in Paris, France. In great opposition to the fast food based world, the French spent tremendous amount of time perfecting their world renowned cooking. The French dedication to their cooking has made it a global standard. The culinary traditions that have been perfected and developed over the centuries have also added to the making of French cuisine into highly refined art. What importance does wine and cheese hold in the living of the French individuals? Wine is the most important part of a French meal. Bordeaux, in the French region of Aquitaine, is one of the three most famous French wine producing regions, along with Champagne and Burgundy. A good cheese, usually along with the wine, is one of the important elements of a French meal. Statisticians say that French people consume up to 57 pounds of cheese per person per year. So it's fair to say that French truly have a passion for cheese. They have been eating it for so long that they cannot imagine their life without it. It's a part of their culinary, culture and lifestyle. Traditionally, you will find that cheese is consumed after the main course and before the dessert. A cheese palette should be served at a room temperature as it is optimal for the flavor. Usually, the cheeses are arranged around the platter from mildest to the strongest. And when it comes to dessert, there is a huge variety to serve your guest. Creme brulee, profiterole, soufflé, macaron, or the very controversial phrase by Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake.
Considered to be one of the most basic necessities. It is said that the way to conquer a man's heart goes through his stomach. This is also possible because of food. The most important ingredient in any food dish is love. Bonjour mes amis, je m'appelle Cheryl. Today I am here to tell you some fun food facts about the French cuisine. French food has earned international reputation. This is because French people consider eating as a part of their culture rather than just any neutral act. The three vital elements in any formal French meal are the bread, cheese, and the wine. Bread is the indispensable part of a French meal. It is necessary to have a bread basket on the table. French people eat bread in every meal. There are 15 types of bread in France. Among these, baguette is the most popular of all. A traditional baguette is made up of just three ingredients, that is, flour, salt, and yeast. It is a meter in length and 5 to 6 centimeters wide. It weighs just 250 grams. Baguette is so popular in France that there are over 10 million baguettes produced every year. The thinner version of this baguette is known as the faisson. Coming towards the cheese, guys, do you know there are how many types of cheese in France? There are over 365 types of cheese in France. That means that a French person can eat a different cheese every single day of the year. French cheese is made from milk of goat, sheep, or cow. In France, cheese is served in the form of a platter consisting of lower concentration to the highest concentration of the cheese. The French people like to eat cheese with a glass of wine. Coming towards the wine, wine is considered to be an intellectual drink in France. There are generally two types of wine in France, that is the red wine as well as the white wine. White wine is generally preferred with vegetarian dishes, whereas the red wine generally goes with meat, beef, and chicken. The most preferred wine in France is the French Paradox, which is a red wine. Moving further, Guys, do you know that the French people have a weird habit of drinking hot beverages from the bowls? Yes, that's true. French people prefer drinking hot beverages from the bowls. They even dip pastries and petit pain, that is a bread roll, in it. French cuisine is always associated with dessert. Most of the households in France consume just squares of dark chocolate, yogurt, and fruit. Although being the most modern country around the world, French people enjoy eating their traditional dishes. A traditional French menu is made during the Christmas time. It consists of smoked salmon, raw oysters, escargot, scallops, foie gras, and champagne. The French always drink champagne in the time of celebration. French McDonald's serve Le Coq and a beer as well. The price on the menu is as twice as expensive when compared to the US menu. A meal generally opted by the French children, that is the quatre heures or le gâteau, is an afternoon snack which is made of hot chocolate, brioche, croissant, and crepes. Mes amis, do you know that the most famous viennoiserie in France, which is the croissant, does not have its origin in France? That's true. Croissants, which are usually associated with the French cuisine, actually originated in Austria. The crescent was considered to be the symbol of the Turks. A crescent-shaped pastry was made by a French chef when the Turks were defeated by the Austrians over 300 years ago. Upon returning to France, the chef popularized his invention there as well. Croissant is called La Viennoiserie in French, which means the Viennese pastry. Vienna is the capital of Austria. Moving further, the Galette de Roi is made during the first days of January. This is done to celebrate the three kings who followed the star for finding baby Jesus. This occasion is referred to as the Libertini. A special trinket is hidden within the special cake. A party takes place in France on the 6th of January, where the cake is served. The lucky person who receives this trinket is referred to as the king or the queen of the party. The pate is a paste made from vegetables, fish, or meat. It is called la terrine if it is cooked in a ceramic dish. If le pate is cooked in a pastry, then it is referred to as a pate au four. Finally, the most prestigious culinary school in France is the Cordon Bleu. In the great opposition to the fast food-based world, the French spent tremendous amount of time perfecting the world-renowned cooking. The French's dedication to their cooking has made it a highly global standard. The culinary traditions that have been perfected and developed over the centuries have also added to the making of French cuisine into a highly refined art. So friends, these were some of the important facts which prove why French cuisine is a globally reputed cuisine. I hope that I helped you to enhance your knowledge about the French cuisine. I would like to end our conversation with a quote. Dis-moi ce que tu manges, je te dirai ce que tu es. Which goes, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what you are. Merci. Au revoir.
Comme Dominique et Cherverie, elle vous a présenté la cuisine française et moi, je suis ici pour partager quelques faits intéressants aujourd'hui à ce sujet avec vous. France has different kind of cheese for every single day of a year. This is because France produces more than 400 kinds of cheese. The French people consider eating as a part of their culture rather than just an neutral act. In France, approximately 500 million escargots, that are snails, are eaten annually, and around 10 million baguettes are produced per year with just three ingredients, which are salt, yeast, and flour.
Hello everyone. Now that the exhibition is coming to an end, I would like to direct your attention to a quick quiz we have prepared, which will allow you to test the knowledge you have learned in the past 1 hour. If you are interested in playing the quiz, please go down to the description box where we have posted a link for the same.
When you click on the link, you will be displayed a screen like this. Just add in your nickname and you are ready to go. Thank you everyone for joining the event.
We hope you had a great time.
This was an amazing experience for us as well.
We hope to entertain you in person next time.
Merci au revoir.